recording for this bit? There we go, specifically on time. Okay, in the session, I'm going to give a bit of an overview of the funding opportunity, including what we are supporting, who can apply, and what we are looking for in applications. Sorry, just sorting out slides. This funding opportunity has been made available to support established research partnerships between business partners and academic institutions. BBSRC have committed a total pot of 11 million for this opportunity, and we are looking to support grants for up to 5 years. As I'm sure many of you are aware, this opportunity is live, and the deadline for the first stage is on the 8th of September 2022. In this scheme, standard grant costs are allowed, and further information can be found in the BBSRC Research Grants Guide, which is linked on the Prosperity Partnership webpage. Okay, so for this scheme, we are looking for proposals across BBSRC's remit. However, they must be collaborative partnerships between business and academia. In terms of who can apply, we require there to be a business lead or PI, as well as an academic one. In terms of who they represent, research organisations can act as the academic lead if they are eligible to receive Research Council funding. This also includes already eligible public sector research establishments, independent research organisations, and certain catapult centres. However, if anyone on the call today represents an organisation that is not currently eligible, please do get in contact with us, as there is a process for applying. In the scheme, business partners are compulsory and bids must be led by the business lead. In terms of which businesses can apply for the lead role, we have set 3 criteria. First, the business lead or primary business partner must be based within the UK or have active UK-based research activity. Second, they must be in the private sector or be from an organisation which generates their own independent revenue. And third, they are able to contribute to UK prosperity through increasing their investment in research or development activities, which may then lead to subsequent product, service, or technology developments. But before I do move on, this part is crucial. Any businesses that are considering to apply as a partner, please ensure that your organisation is registered in the Joint Electronic Submission System prior to submitting your application. Again, please do contact us if you require any support with this. In terms of what we are actually looking for in applications, we are looking for proposals that are business-led, but have been co-created and are planned to be jointly delivered. A key expectation of this scheme is that we support excellent world-leading discovery, research and innovation. We expect this to have clear benefits to the businesses involved, and we want these partnerships to lead to accelerated impact arising from either new knowledge, innovations or technologies. Through this opportunity, we are looking for shared research challenges to be driven forward through CR&D and innovation, as well as the impact of the project to reach further than the direct individuals involved. So in terms of the strategic considerations, BBSRC's remit will give a good indication of the types of challenges that we are seeking to address, and proposals should focus on tackling major problems faced by the UK and the world through research and innovation. Further to that, and as we've already heard today, proposals should also consider how the partnership could drive capability in a key technology, as well as further scientific advancements. Although it is very clear to us at BBSRC that the specific outcomes will be unique to each project, proposals may consider how the partnership would lead to the discovery of new or improved products or services, drive efficiencies or cost reductions, or enable expansion into new markets whilst also jointly authorising high impact publications. Ultimately, within the scheme, what we are looking for are projects that seek to provide economic and social prosperity, which wouldn't exist without the partnership. I have touched on this already, but we are seeking proposals which focus on bioscience and biotechnology within BBSRC's remit. We are open to considering other research and innovation areas supported by UKRI. However, they must either clearly strengthen the partnership, innovation, or the innovation. We do recognise that many prosperity partnerships will involve multidisciplinary research and innovation, so we do encourage applicants to consider this and do ask for you to get in contact with us as early as possible. In terms of the partnership itself, Applicants in the outline stage should ensure that their relationship is research-based and established, and that there are clear plans to evolve this. This can be demonstrated through shared research challenges between the partners, and that the Prosperity Partnership is a key mechanism to evolve and strengthen this relationship. We are also looking for the ambition to co-deliver the research program at TRLs 1 to 4, and that the business partner is able to commit to the match contribution for the Prosperity Partnership in cash. In the next few slides, I'm just going to give a bit of an overview about the matched cash contribution, starting with what is required and then what it includes. To be completely clear at this point, this scheme requires the funding by BBSRC to be matched with commercially generated revenue in cash by the business lead. What this means is for every pound awarded by BBSRC, the business partner or partners must contribute a matched amount. We anticipate that there will be two types of bid, and for single business bids, this is pretty straightforward. The business has to match the funding provided by BBSRC. However, for bids that have multiple business partners, like as we've heard today in the AstraZeneca Prosomix Manchester project, the contribution can be provided collectively. However, the majority, at a minimum, must come from the single business lead. Just to clear this one bit up, once that cash contribution has been reached, BBSRC welcomes any additional contributions that can be made in cash or in kind by any of the partners. So when it comes to the actual matched cash contributions, we have put together an extensive list of what we would consider as eligible. This is shown on the left-hand side, and an example budget has been put together which breaks down some of these elements on the right. The specific details of each section can be found on the Funding Opportunity webpage. However, I have highlighted certain areas. First, the yellow highlighted boxes show that the BBSRC contribution being matched by the business lead. Moving over to the left in green are salaries. And what we require is that proposals should cost a person on the project dependent on how much time they would spend working on it. So for example, if only 10% of their time, a person's time would be spent on the project, we would count this as an eligible cash contribution, but we expect them to be costed at 10% of their salary. Finally, near the bottom in red, the business partners may contribute a maximum of 20% of their cash contribution towards skills and talent training. In the example, the business lead contributed just over 1.6 million. 20% of that equates to £336,000. In the example, the actual value that was given is lower, but that 336,000 would be the maximum eligible cash contribution towards the project, specifically for skills and talent training. Moving on then to the final part of this section, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about skills and talent training. Just to be clear, this is not a mandatory part of the proposal, but has the objective of providing the Prosperity Partnership with the right people and skills to help deliver it. We are looking for proposals to show how they would develop an excellent, inclusive and well-supported team, which extends out towards doctoral students and also research master's studentships. There are two elements to the skills and talent training offering, the first being the workforce development plan. In proposals, the plan would need to show the team of people required to lead, implement, and support the Prosperity Partnership's objectives, but there is also a requirement to identify how skills gaps will be addressed through professional development or new recruitment. We would expect to see the diversity profile of the team, as well as any measures put in place to address any imbalances, as well as highlight the opportunities to train the next generation of researchers, technical specialists, entrepreneurs, and innovators. The second element is a flexible talent development account, which will allow the Prosperity Partnership to support the team with BBSRC funding as an example, for things like exchange programs, secondments, or the development of training resources. In proposals, the notional budget set for this element is around £200,000, and we would expect for scalability to be shown at both plus and minus 10%. Just to clarify one point on this, even if Even if this part of the proposal is successful, a successful prosperity partnership bid is required, and this element will not be funded in isolation. So, thank you very much for your time. At this point, I just wanted to say thank you and encourage you to continue asking questions in the Q&A, and I will now pass over to Dr. Inbal Ringel, who will give an overview of the timeline, the application, as well as the assessment process.
I'm just going to share my screen. Okay, so I'm going to talk about the assessment aspect of the call. And I'll start with an overview of the timeline of this call. The next deadline is on September 8th, and it's for the submission of outline proposal. A panel interview will take place during September and October, and if you're invited to submit a full proposal, the next deadline will be in February 8th. A funding decision will then be published at the end of May. The Prosperity Partnership Assessment process will be undertaken in 2 stages. At the first stage, outline application will be strategically appraised by a BBSRC strategic panel. The assessment will be based on their strategic relevance to bioscience and biotechnology, as well as the existing relationship between the partners, the vision, ambition, and national importance of the partnership. Also the outline budget and any skills and talent submissions. Shortlisted applicants will be invited to a specialist interview panel for assessment and ranking. The specialist interview panel will also examine the vision and the ambition of the added value of the partnership business, buy into the partnership, the leadership and the appropriateness of the team, as well as secondary criteria such as impact management and governance, and skills and talent training. Successful proposals from the outline stage will be invited to the second stage, the full proposal stage. Those will be assessed by peer review and will be ranked via a prioritization panel. So submitting an outline application for stage 1, there is much more details in on the website. You must apply using the joint electronic submission, the JACE system. From past experience, it is recommended that you start your application early. You can just save completed details in JS at any time and then return later to continue your application. When applying, select documents, new documents, and then the following details for council, document type, scheme, and call name. Once you have completed your application, make sure you create a document. For more details, you should refer to the website where you can find links to JS Handbook and BBSRC Research Grant Guide. Your host organization also should be able to provide advice and guidance on completing your application. You will not be able to apply after September the 8th. So again, leave enough time for your proposal to pass through the organization JS submission route before the date. So for the outline stage, we will require 4 documents. The outline performer documents, for which you have a template with guidance for completion online. The budget documents, at this stage, it wouldn't be longer than 1 page. And again, use the online template. And we are aware that specific details of the matched contribution may not be available at this stage. Therefore, a 10% variation in addition to a shift in the breakdown across headings is accepted in that total of the project value from the outline and to the full proposal stage. All contributions will be validated again at full proposal stage. Then we also need a CV with up to 1 page each for the business and the academic lead from the 2 principal investigators. This should convey your ability to lead a program of this size and number of stakeholders. The cover letter will not be assessed. It must include confirmation statement from the business lead that they will be leading the project, dated and signed by the relevant representative in the business. This is also the place to highlight any conflicts or information we should be aware of. As I mentioned, this stage will be assessed by a strategic appraisal panel within BBSRC and then by a specialist interview panel. The assessment criteria for stage one, they're slightly different for the strategic panel and the special interview panel. On the first part, the panel will look at existing relationship. We're looking for clear evidence as a well-established research-based relationship between business and academic lead partners with demonstrable benefits achieved to date. The panel will also look at the appropriate vision and vision for the Prosperity Partnership with clear evidence of how the Prosperity Partnership will bring benefits to the UK economy and the research base and address national and international strategies, including those of the business and businesses involved. The panel will assess the outline budget to ensure that BBSRC and external contributions to the program are aligned with the scheme. Skill and talent training, we will consider the quality of the skills and talent training and appropriateness for alignment with the Prosperity Partnership. Then the interview panel will look at the vision and ambition of the proposal. So bring evidence of how the vision will be achieved and how the partnership will contribute to the regional, national, and international strategies. We're looking for clear evidence of the buy-in from business partners and co-creation of the proposed business-inspired fundamental research program. Applicant leadership and appropriateness of the leadership team. We look at evidence of joint working between the business and the academic principal investigator. Also will be taken into account the impact, so how the Prosperity Partnership will deliver the benefit identified, clear plans to maximize translation and impact arising from the partnership plans, plans for responsible research and innovations. We will look at management and governance. You will be required to demonstrate appropriateness of the management and the governance arrangements. And finally, you must demonstrate the quality of skills and talent training and the appropriateness for alignment with the Prosperity Partnership. That would hopefully bring us to the stage 2 of the course. For the interest of time, I will not go over every document here, as this will only be relevant at a later stage to those who are invited to apply. I just wanted to mention that these documents are kind of a standard for the majority of BBSRC applications, so all appear on the website, and we are happy to discuss this after the outline stage. Have a problem with this, but I think that brings me to the end of my part, so I will stop sharing and pass the control back to Alistair.
Thank you very much, Inbal, and please do keep submitting questions. We are trying our best to get through as many as we can and answer, and hopefully get a few more in the live Q&A. Ben, would you be able to share some slides for me, please? Thank you, Ben. Yeah, next slide, please. In this section, I just want to highlight some of our other opportunities. Ruth did speak about the Industrial Partnership Awards and the Link Awards a little bit earlier, and we have had some questions on them. So these schemes are a part of our responsive mode portfolio, and they are in place to help build and catalyze partnerships through collaborative research. The schemes do vary in their level of contribution and the type of contribution accepted. In the Industrial Partnership Awards, we expect a 10% cash contribution from the business, and in the Link scheme, we expect a 50% contribution, but this can either be cash or in kind. As mentioned earlier, I am responsible for these schemes, and I'm more than happy to talk about them further after the webinar. Next slide, please, Ben. I would also like to highlight to you the iCure program, which seeks to support teams led by researchers, PhD students, and technicians. The aim of the program is to get people out of the lab for a short period of time and identify if there is a market for their research. And in addition to this, expert advice and training is provided by professionals to support people with their development. And then finally, Ben. And then finally, to finish off, this is a program being run with us between ourselves within BBSRC, but in the business interaction unit. We also have a call on building partnerships within the agricultural and horticultural sectors to help solve challenges for crop pests and diseases. This is a £2 million call where grants of £50,000 will support researchers and businesses to develop new controls for crop pests and diseases in the UK. Just to clarify, the £50,000 goes towards the academic partners, and then we seek to get business buy-in to these programs as well. All the details are available on the funding finder, and I would encourage you to sign up for the webinar tomorrow if this is of interest to you. And at this point then, I will bring the formal sessions to a close and say that we've got a 5-minute screen break, but however, because we are quite early on time, I suggest we come back here for 14:30. So if we could meet back here at 2:30, we can then start moving into the Q&A. Thank you very much.